look here, we at Steppers Express, and this is all about video for steppers. And this is what we've been working on for the last few months, and this is some of what we'll be doing for 2023. As you know, my name is standalone Pro. You can find me at youtube.com, Steppers Express. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and that like button so you can get notifications when we bring you some of these different tutorials on how to do video for steppers. But we also have a page over at Webmaster Dan where we do a variety of different subjects, including home improvement, video for steppers, 100 videos in 100 days, and some of the other tools and tips and tricks that we use in order to make productive quality video. Today we're going over a switcher which we call the Atem Mini Pro. You also have the Atem Pro, you have the Atem Mini Pro ISO, you have the Atem Mini Pro Extreme. We talked about doing a tutorial on the switcher, so I'm going to give you another quick briefing on as far as what the switcher is capable of doing. So let's do a quick switch there. So as you see, we can go between different cameras. Now I'm using what you would call 3 different cameras for this particular video shoot. So if you just look at some of the things that you see me doing, you see me switching, and that's taking place on the Atem Pro. So let me give you a quick overview of the Atem Pro. So let's bring it up on our screen. Now, if you look at the Atem Pro, you see a lot of different buttons on here, and it could be confusing, but don't let it confuse you. Right now, you see where I have this number 1. You see the number 1 is highlighted and illuminating. If I was on switch to camera 2, camera 3, camera 4. So on the Atem Mini Pro, you can have up to 4 cameras. You can have 2 audio inputs, and you can also have a webcam. You can use the Blackmagic Atem Pro Mini Pro as a webcam. You can use it also as a switcher. I can also bring in stills and other different things, green screen. It's so many things. This can also act not just as a webcam, which you see back here on top, where you see our white cord coming out at, and I'll show you the back in a minute. This also can act as a standalone, which means that it's a standalone tool, where a piece of hardware where you can hook this to some Cat 5 and run it straight to a router and go live on Facebook, YouTube, and other platforms. So you don't necessarily have to go through a computer. You also have some software that come with this particular program, which is the Atem software, which I can run this from inside of my computer. So we're going to go over that as well. But as I showed you, you have these 4 inputs down here. Now if you look right over the top, or where you see 1, 2, 3, 4 here at the bottom, you will see different buttons for operating each camera. So I can have a volume up, volume down, which is the 2 bottom buttons. I can have a audio move with video. So if I move to camera 2, I can have my video and audio move together. Same with camera 3, depending on what camera it is. So if I had 4 cameras on 4 different hosts, then when I shift that camera, the audio will shift with it. Now, if you look at the top up here, you have 2 mic inputs, so I can use either mic. So both of them are off right now because I'm using a different mic on my machine. But you can have 2 different mic or audio inputs, so this could be my main audio input for all of these different cameras. So once I switch one of those on and have it on as the main feed, as the master, it don't really matter which camera I shift to, the audio will be coming into the Atem through that particular input. But you could also bring in a computer and other HDMI inputs into the Atem Pro. So you have 6 buttons for each camera on the Atem Pro, so you can operate those cameras from those particular buttons. As far as volume up, volume down, depending on if the audio is moving with camera. Now, if you look straight to the right of there, you'll see down at the bottom, 1 button says black, another button says still. So once I set up in my software, I set up my stills. Now I can bring my stills in, so once I click stills, I can have my still as a background. So you'll see some other buttons, not only on the hardware, but also on the software, where I can operate those stills as far as when I start green screening and doing chroma keying and some of the other most powerful, robust ways to use this switcher. Now, if you look to the right where it say cut, that's if I just want to do a main cut between my cameras. As you see me do right now, I'm doing a fade, which is I have it on auto. So that's why you see auto is illuminated, because when I hit auto, whenever I hit auto, you're going to get a different camera effect. And then you have fade to black. So you'll get to see some of these things in operation when we do the actual ATEM Pro tutorial on how to operate the ATEM Pro in full bloom. As far as it's operating, you'll see where we use multi-view, you'll see where we use program view, and these are some of the other buttons that you see up at the top. You'll also see up here in another section where you see we have picture in picture. Right here at the top, in the middle, these are all our picture in picture. So when we're doing, say, tutorials or something using the ATEM Pro, and we have a background camera or background still or whatever our background is, or we might have a computer screen for a background, we use this picture in picture up here in order to make those things happen. You also have some other buttons over here where you will see where it say key, online, on air. On air would be when I'm going up to YouTube or when I'm actually going live on a particular platform. So most of the sections that you see on here are just like the bigger switches, and a lot of times you really don't need a lot of robust equipment in order to do a major production, a quality production. For example, this particular machine actually can take, like I said, this is the back view. You can take up to 4 HTM inputs. You also have an out where you see the white cord coming out. It's an out for a webcam. And then on here, you also have another HTM out. So if you want to go to a multi-view where you had a screen and you want to see all of your cameras and everything on that particular multi-view, you can see it on that particular screen. Now, the thing about the ATEM Mini Pro is that it don't have more than one HDMI output. So if you had like an overflow room or something, you would have to make some adjustments as far as going to a multi-view and being able to, say, broadcast to your overflow room. But if you didn't have to have multi-view as far as how you operate your cameras, you can have this go to your overflow room or to some monitors as far as your HDMI output and the different screens that you would probably want to feed. So each thing, as you see on the back here, is different. So the more that you go up as far as mini, ATEM Mini, ATEM Mini Pro, ATEM Mini ISO, ATEM Mini Extreme, and up and up and up to the larger, more robust machines, you'll find that you get different types of equipment to do different types of things. So let me put me back on screen for a minute so you can see a little bit of the ATEM Mini Pro in action. So as you see me fading between cameras, I can have 3 or 4 cameras, and I can also go in my software and deal with some cameras as well. So it really doesn't matter what you're using as long as you know how you want to go about switching, and you make your switches real simple and real smooth and real robust. So as you see, those are auto cuts. So if I was doing a cut like I showed you, I have put it on main cut, I would just hit that cut, see, and it'll cut between the cameras. When it's on auto, whatever transition I have it on, that is the transition that will transition between the different cameras that's on the ATEM Pro. So if we went to fade to black, see, it will fade me right out. So we come right back in, bring our cameras back in. Fade to black is like something went wrong with the program and you don't want to keep messing around with it. You might put up a screen, you might just fade to black and then put up your warning screen or your hold on screen or whatever it is that you want to put. So as you can see, it's a very powerful tool and you can do a lot of different things with the ATEM Pro. In fact, you can do educational, you can do tutorials, you can do home videos, you can do house of worship, you can do concerts, you can do contests, you can do so many different things with this small piece of equipment. In fact, this is a step up from the basic mini ATEM, which you can also use, which can do just as many things. It's all about know-how. So like I said, you can operate it as a standalone or you can operate it as a webcam. I like to use mine as a webcam, but if you are going to use it as a standalone, then you would have to use it, say, with a router or you would have to have a feed to go live. A lot of people don't like to go wireless, especially when they're doing something like an event, because like when you at an event, if you ever notice at a lot of events, when people have a lot of drag or a lot of slowdowns or a lot of stalls, they're not having those stalls because of the machine or anything. They're having those stalls because you may have hundreds of thousands of people in that same venue trying to use the same wireless connections and cell phones and so many different things that can impact that stream. Or if that particular wireless situation cause some problems, you won't be able to stream to your equipment. So a lot of people don't like the thing. They like to have their own router. They like to have their own reserve line or whatever in order to ensure that they're getting a good stream, especially when they are doing something really on a higher level or professional level where they may have been paid top dollars. So you don't want to come in saying, hey, the internet went out. I mean, you know, people want a refund, especially if it was like a concert or something really important. So when you're doing something like neighborhood stuff, local stuff, basic stuff, you can get away with all that. We promised in 2023 that we was gonna start elaborating on some of this equipment so that people can have an understanding. Now, what you see me do on here was switch to these buttons down here. You saw me go to auto, and then you saw me go to cut, and then you saw me go to fade to black. Now, if you look right up over cut, you will see 4 buttons, and one of them will say 0.5, 1.0, 1.5, and 2.0. Those are buttons to time my transition. So if I got it on 1.0 like I have it now, you will see that I can transition between my 2 cameras at a certain speed. So let's put it on 1.5, and you'll see when I put it on 1.5, you'll be able to see how slow that transition is. See that transition? So it depends on what you're trying to do. Now let's put it on 2.0 and you'll see how slow. See that transition is slow. So it depends on how you want to do. So a lot of times, like you see at a concert, a person might be blowing a horn or something or playing some drums or something, and you want a real slow transition because you may have your cameras in 2 different positions. I may have my cameras to the right or the left, and I want that to fade in. Especially like dance contests. I used to do a lot of dance contests, and nothing I love more than the fading in from one shot to another with the same moves. So if you had 2 or 3 cameras strategically located, then you could get those shots, and you want to do a slow fade like this instead of a fast fade. Let's do that 0.05. See, that's a fast transition. See, and then a lot of times, let's go to cut. You just want to cut. So a cut is when you're doing something fast. You want that cut in there because you might be in the same scene or you might be on the same dance routine and you just want to cut quick like that. See, so you want that cut. It may be a different angle, but it's a quick cut because you don't want to miss a step or you don't want to miss a turn or whatever. You know the amazing thing about this equipment that they have, let me go back to auto here and fade back in. You know the amazing thing about this equipment that they have now is that it's just so much stuff that you can do now that we couldn't do back then. We used to have mismatch cameras, and we have VHS, and we had analog and digital, and a lot of times, you know, we was mixing stuff just to get the shot, especially when we was doing stuff in like 2001, 2002, around in there. We didn't have all this stuff, but now that you have all this stuff, that's why I be trying to share it, because it's just so much that you can do with it, and share it with people so they can understand that it's just a lot that you can do with the equipment that they have available now. So I'm gonna do an actual ATEM Pro tutorial where you can see where I'm going through all of the things on the back of the ATEM Mini Pro, and then you can get some idea of some of the things that you don't get on the actual ATEM Mini, and then some of the extras that you might get on ATEM Mini ISO. So for example, on the ISO, you can isolate a camera. So I could be shooting in one camera like you see me now, while this camera here is in the background still recording. And then you got different pieces of machine where you can record all 4 cameras at the same time, regardless of which camera is on program. So these are just all things that I'll share with you. That's why I say it's video for steppers, and these are just things that we need to know and understand as we get into live streaming, and we get into streaming live, and we get into pre-recording, and we get into so many different platforms that they have now doing training tutorials. We're still building a platform where you'll be able to come into some of our courses and get some real in-depth lessons on some of the things that's taking place as far as video for steppers. Now that's just one of the platforms that we have, and we encourage and inspire anyone that want to take anything or any idea that we have and enhance on it. Those are the things that we give away for free. I love these switches because they just allow you to do so much. Let me slow that down a little bit there. They just allow you to do so much with so little, and it's just so affordable. You know what I mean? So until next time, this is the Atem Pro, Mini Pro, and this little machine here, it does so many powerful things. You'll see a power cord in the back. And one thing that I don't really like about this, it doesn't have an on and off button. So it's pretty much, when you power up, it's straight power, straight on, and then when you power down, it's straight power off. So you can either leave it on like I do sometime, or you can shut it off. Hey, I'm standalone Pro. Until next time, it's always a pleasure. Make sure you learn to get you a switcher, whether it's a Mini Pro, a Blackmagic design, or whether it's TriCaster. There's just so many different tools out here. They pretty much all operate the same, and that includes video production suites. All of this equipment pretty much operates the same, and once you learn the basics, and that's basically what it's all about. Once you learn the basics as far as how to capture, how to shoot, how to frame, how to do your sound and your audio, and go into your audio mixer and do some of the things that's available in there, you will see that if you learn one program, you pretty much learn them all. I'm standalone Pro. Till next time, peace.